You don't think that First Amendment clause is beneficial at all?
Well, I mean, obviously it's certainly beneficial, at least on paper, and I don't really want to play too much in the alternate history game because, I mean, ultimately it's all speculation.
Well, yeah.
Because then you end up becoming your own grandpa.
The First Amendment is important for keeping a certain amount of, or keeping neutrality when it comes to the government and religion. I think that's a good thing. I think that in any society you want to make that distinction, that we're not going to allow the church to have any sort of authority over the people. I mean, the people that willingly believe these things, that are religious, they have the right, the human right to follow their religion and practice their religion, but we should not allow a group of believers or the church to be any sort of authority.
Well, it certainly sets a precedent, but it doesn't talk about anything like monetary distribution or setting bills for faith-based initiatives or involving religion.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so it sort of happens. It's a continual struggle, nonetheless.
I think there's a subject that ties into consumerism, and that is the manipulation of religious beliefs for ulterior motives, and that I think would apply to the way that politicians sort of pander through like things like what you just said, faith-based initiatives, and I mean something that something that liberals always accuse the right-wing sort of Republicans for is that they let their in particular fundamentalist Christian beliefs drive all of their politics. How true is that?
Well, I mean, I would say, in the first place, I mean, really, it's the corporatist wing of the party that really calls most of the shots and makes most of the decisions. Obviously, they get most of the smoke gets blown on the religious wing of the Republican Party, and most of the fire is in the corporate wing of the Republican Party.
Well, when you examine it, the corporate interests are educated. They care about what the actual policy is. And when you're talking about blowing smoke, the religious right likes to hear a good sermon.
Religious right?
But I was going to say it on another note. I mean, and I will never pass up an opportunity to bash on the Democrats, and man, did I get a good one this week. When Barack Obama picked Rick Warren to do his inauguration invocation. Yes.
What?
Rick Warren, religious right preacher extraordinaire. You know, basically maybe now more or less what Jerry Falwell was 25 years ago before he really rose to superstardom. Rick Warren will be doing the inaugural invocation for President Obama at his inauguration. You know, and in case you've never heard of Rick Warren, he is a fanatical right-wing, anti-women's health, and very, very anti-gay marriage. He's compared gay marriage to incest and to child molestation. And this is the guy that our liberal savior wants to do his opening prayer. Here is opening prayer from when he's coronated.
Glad you voted for him, Brian. Aren't you proud?
Oh yeah.
And it was just.
I already was disillusioned with Obama before I voted for him.
It was just another one of those moments for me where it's just, yep, we've got ourselves another Bill Clinton, folks.
Also, Fred Phelps is a Democrat.
Is he really?
Yes.
And I am never ever going to give up an opportunity to get that in.
Democrats claim at least to be pro-choice, and that's one of his main things that
he's run in wherever the fuck he lives. Oops, did I swear? Oh damn.
Phelps is in Kansas.
Well, he ran for a bunch of positions in like the 90s as a Democrat. He ran for Senate, and he ran for mayor. He ran for a bunch of things, and he supported.
How do you know all this about Fred Phelps?
Wikipedia. Oh crap! No, but it was from like news sources. I mean, if you're gonna believe the news,
Well,
then
yeah,
you have
he
to
was-
believe that, then don't you?
He
supported Al Gore in the 1988 primaries, and he had a fundraiser for Gore, which Al Gore's son attended. And Al Gore people don't like to talk about that, apparently.
Can't imagine why.
Maybe we should talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. You can't necessarily stick the Democratic Party with Fred Phelps any more than you can stick him with another whack job like Lyndon LaRouche, who's consistently registered as a Democrat. But it's
You mean any more
But
more than people like to stick Stalinism with communism?
right. But the point is,
Well, as long as people do that, I'm just going to remind people that Fred Phelps is a Democrat. Fuck you.
But yeah, my point is that the basic point does still stand that the Republican Party does not have a monopoly on pandering to religious wannabe fascists.
Yeah. You guys are looking at me like I'm the resident Democrat or something.
Well, your name is Mud
Well,
since
this-
you voted for Obama.
You voted
Why is
for
there a D on your forehead?
you voted for Obama, and you are also the resident rabid anti-religion guy. And here's Obama doing his thing, and
I
What's
don't
up?
like Obama. I don't like him.
he was the best of the worst.
He was the best of the worst. He was. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So does that mean that McCain would have gotten like what, Jesse Jackson? I don't. I mean, who would have McCain got to balance that?
Probably Dawkins or Harris.
Is that the comparable thing? Who should you have voted for,
Well,
Brian?
the point is, I think McCain probably would have wound up with Rick Warren too. I mean, that just goes back to, I mean, basically my fundamental bias is just what's the difference between these two?
Yeah, I mean,
bastards?
ultimately, seriously speaking,
Seriously,
either
truly.
way, we're fucked. Yes, God damn it, I'm swearing. Fuck you.
We're going to have to do a lot of editing on this file.
Eat shit and die, liberals. Fred Phelps is a Democrat.
We're going to have to edit out the discussions and just leave those
You
parts.
will never ever forget it.
Maybe we should have an actual Democrat on the show.
That way Brian will have someone to pick up.
And we can actually address their arguments. Because I'm sure they would want to counter what we're saying.
Because then
about-
I wouldn't be here.
We'll take your seat, Monty.
Yeah, that's what I would hope for.
Monty might strangle them mid-show. We can't allow him in the room. I mean, we could allow him to sit in the room, but
Well, you should allow a Democrat in. Get Fred
we'd
Phelps
have
on the
to-
phone.
We'd have to put we'd probably put handcuffs on you. And
We'll
probably one of
roll-
those.
So
Yeah.
bring in a Democrat.
We'll
in.
roll Monty in with the Hannibal Lecter mask.
Yeah,
on,
that's
and
what I
then-
was thinking.
Oh, Obama, your mama?
Well, I think the show is pretty much over
I think that there's, I've heard of a lot of activists in the Democratic Party, liberals, becoming disillusioned with this person that they thought was going to come in and be a champion of progressive
Yeah, and
ideals.
those people are morons because what were they expecting?
And he's brought a lot of people in.
I mean, his cabinet is pretty atrocious, really.
Yeah.
Talking about continuity and bipartisan consensus. When George W. Bush took office in 2001, he had Condoleezza Rice under his shoulder as national security advisor after she'd sat on the board of directors at Chevron, and now here comes Barack Obama. Who's his national security advisor? Okay, it's Jim Jones, retired U.S. Marine and board of directors at Chevron. So Chevron stocks the National Security Administration regardless of which party is in office.